Knox had never imagined that a simple leather-bound journal would become the catalyst for the most terrifying moment of his life. As a human servant in the celestial court of Ethermore, he had learned to keep his head down, his thoughts private, and his heart carefully guarded. But hearts, he was learning, had a way of betraying their owners. The day had started like any other. Knox had risen before dawn, prepared the Queen's breakfast, and ensured her chambers were immaculate. Queen Alexa, ruler of the ethereal realm, commander of starlight itself, and the most beautiful being Knox had ever encountered, was known for her cold precision and unwavering authority. She was not cruel, but she was distant, unreachable. Like a star one could admire, but never touch. Knox had been in her service for 2 years now, brought to Ethermore through a portal that had accidentally opened in his world. At first, he had been terrified, desperate to return home. But as months passed, he found himself strangely content in this magical realm. Or perhaps it wasn't the realm itself that held him, it was her. He had started the journal as a way to process his feelings, to make sense of the impossible situation he found himself in. Late at night, by candlelight, he would pour his thoughts onto the pages, observations about the Queen's rare smiles, the way her silver hair caught the moonlight, how her laughter so seldom heard sounded like wind chimes in a summer breeze. He wrote about the ache in his chest when she passed by without seeing him, about the dreams where she looked at him not as a servant, but as an equal. The journal was his secret sanctuary, hidden beneath a loose floorboard in his modest quarters. Or so he had thought. Knox was in the palace gardens, trimming the luminescent roses that only bloomed under Alexa's magic, when a guard approached him with an expression of grave concern. "The Queen requests your presence immediately," the guard said, his voice tight with an emotion Knox couldn't identify. In her private study, Knox's blood ran cold. The private study was where the Queen dealt with matters of utmost importance, political crises, threats to the realm, matters of treason. Servants were never summoned there unless something had gone terribly wrong. His mind raced as he followed the guard through the crystalline corridors. Had he broken some rule he wasn't aware of? Had he offended her somehow? The walk felt eternal, each step heavier than the last. When the ornate doors opened, Knox found himself face to face with Queen Alexa. She stood by the window, her back to him, her posture rigid. The afternoon light created a halo round her figure, and for a moment, Knox forgot to breathe. "Your Majesty," he managed, bowing deeply. "You summoned me?" "Close the door," she commanded, her voice controlled but carrying an edge he'd never heard before. Knox obeyed, his hands trembling slightly. That's when he saw at his journal, sitting open on her desk. His heart plummeted into his stomach. How had she found it when? "Do you know what this is?" Alexa asked, still not turning to face him. "Yes, Your Majesty," Knox whispered, his voice barely audible. "Then you know I've read it." It wasn't a question. She finally turned, and Knox saw something in her eyes he couldn't quite decipher: anger, hurt, something else entirely. Every word, Knox felt the world tilting beneath his feet. This was it. He would be banished, or worse. In some realms, a human daring to have feelings for royalty was punishable by death. Alexa moved toward him, each step deliberate and measured. She picked up the journal, her fingers elegant and adorned with rings of starlight tracing the leather cover. "You write beautifully," she said softly, and Knox's confusion deepened. "Poetically, even. Your observations are detailed." She opened to a page and began to read. Today she laughed at something her advisor said, and I realized I would give anything to be the reason for that joy. But I am only human, only a servant, only a fool who dared to love a queen made of moonlight and magic. Knox felt heat flood his face. Hearing his private thoughts spoken aloud in her voice was a unique form of torture. Alexa closed the journal and looked directly at him. Her violet eyes, usually so composed and distant, now held an intensity that pinned him in place. "Do you love me, human?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper but echoing in the silent room like thunder. Knox froze. His mouth opened, but no words came out. His mind went completely blank. This was the question he had never allowed himself to fully acknowledge, even in the privacy of his own thoughts. To admit it now, to her face, felt like standing on the edge of an abyss. He started, but his voice failed him. "Answer me," Alexa insisted, stepping closer. She was now directly in front of him, close enough that he could see the subtle glow of magic that always surrounded her, could smell the scent of starflowers that clung to her. The words flowed so freely in your journal. Where are they now? Knox's heart hammered in his chest. He could feel tears threatening at the corners of his eyes, whether from fear or overwhelming emotion. He couldn't tell. Your Majesty, He swallowed hard, forcing himself to meet her gaze. I cannot speak it. To speak it would make it real, and to make it real would be to acknowledge the impossibility of it all. You are a queen. I am nothing, nothing. Alexa's expression shifted, and to Knox's absolute shock, she reached out and touched his face, her cool fingers against his warm cheek. The man who writes of me with such tenderness, who sees me not as a ruler but as a woman, who notices when I'm tired or sad even when I hide it from my court, that man is not nothing. Knox's breath caught. Was he dreaming? Had he fallen and hit his head in the garden? For 2 years I have watched you, Alexa continued, her voice growing softer. I told myself it was merely supervision, ensuring you performed your duties well. But I found myself looking for you in corridors, listening for your voice, wondering what you thought of me. You what? Knox finally found his voice, though it came out strangled. A small, vulnerable smile curved Alexa's lips, a smile he had never seen before. Why do you think your journal found its way to my desk, Knox? I may be a queen, but I am also just a woman who wanted to know if the feelings I've been fighting are returned. Knox felt the world shift back into place, but everything looked different now. The abyss he'd been standing at the edge of suddenly looked like a bridge. I love you, he said, the words finally breaking free. I love you so much it terrifies me. Alexa's smile widened, and for the first time since he'd known her, she looked truly happy. Good, she whispered, because loving you terrifies me too. But perhaps we can be terrified together. When she kissed him, Knox discovered that even queens could tremble, that even stars could choose to fall, and that sometimes the most impossible stories had the most beautiful endings.